Greetings, I am Tabin of A Mind Transformed, and this is Manna for Your Journey. Have you ever talked to someone who has been affected by trauma? And when I say trauma, I'm talking about a hurt, a disappointment, a past issue, conversation, or situation that affected them so deeply it becomes ingrained in their everyday life. It becomes part of their personality, part of how they think, part of who they are. And you can tell you're speaking to people in these situations because when you try to move forward and when you talk to them, they're stuck only on the problem. And they can't ever seem to get to the solution stage. They can't ever seem to quite let it go. They want people to agree with them in their misery, not necessarily align them to a solution or a better way or towards tomorrow. They're stuck in their past and they're living every day looking backwards instead of forward. We encounter a man like this in the Bible in John chapter 5, when Jesus meets the man at the pool of Bethesda. So John chapter 5, 1 through 15 talks about this man. And Jesus asked him a simple question: do you want to be made whole? And the man, affected by being 38 years in that condition, having the past 38 years of his life be miserable, he didn't enjoy them much, focused more on a problem than a solution, affected by trauma that has ingrained the very way that he thinks, couldn't even answer the question with a yes or no. Jesus asked him, do you want to be made whole? And he recapped the problem for Jesus. But Jesus, being God enough, knows what the man needs, heals him anyway. Trauma, past disappointments, past hurts, past issues will have us so caught up in what was that we can't see what will be. By the time that God shows up in a problem, he's not talking about what happened. He's aligning us towards the future. He's pointing us towards what will be better. In today's world of social justice, oftentimes much time gets spent talking about how we got here instead of how we can move forward. And then you'll talk to people who are still affected by that, stuck in that trauma of a situation, because they'll say things like, well, they at least need to acknowledge that there was a problem or issue. They need to acknowledge they hurt me. It is amazing that when Jesus steps up, speaks to this man, he doesn't talk about what happened to the past 38 years. He doesn't acknowledge that the man has an issue. He doesn't waste any time at all talking about the man's condition or how he got there. When the time Jesus shows up, he presents the man with a solution, an answer to his prayers. What the man wanted was to be different. He wanted change. He didn't want to be in that situation anymore. But by the time the solution showed up, all he could do was focus on his situation. We don't ever want to be in a place where we allow what has happened to us to dictate who we will be in a negative way, where we get so focused on the issues that we can't seem to move forward. Trauma will hold us in place. Trauma will allow us to look at solutions and still not see them, still be focused on the problem. If you find yourself talking more about what happened than more about what can happen or how God can intervene, you've been affected by trauma. And when we deal with these types of people, we want to focus on the solutions, not necessarily the problems. We understand how we got here as a society. We understand how we got here as a whole, or you understand what has happened in your personal life. The question is, do you want to remain the same or do you want transformation? But trauma, those past hurts, those past disappointments will keep us somewhere. God, when he shows up, is not as concerned about what happened to us before. I know enough about the Bible to know there are things in the Bible that I still don't know. But I do not recall Jesus speaking to people or Jesus showing up to heal somebody where they spent 10, 15 minutes, 30 minutes to an hour talking about what happened and how they arrived at that place. By the time God shows up, he's not looking back with us anymore. He's looking forward. This is why the Bible tells us to let go of the things behind and reach toward those things that we have. But trauma, hurt, pain, disappointment keeps us stuck. Shout out to a fine church called The Place of Change, who has made one of my favorite shirts on earth. Be the change you want to see. If I could put it in vernacular that's not even cool, and it probably is cliche, don't talk about it, be about it. If you want transformation in your mindset, you want transformation in your family, you want transformation in your community, do something. Not recap what has happened, not recap how we got here, but do something to move forward. Well, that's all I have for you. Again, my name is Taven of A Mind Transformed, and this has been Manna for your journey. Be blessed.